minus 150 to 150. And I'm just going to watch. And repeat until my position is less than what's the bowl? The bowl's negative 100, so we'll just do 150. We are going to change y by negative 10. Maybe not 10, maybe 7. Now try that. They're doing that, but oh yeah, we need to change this to negative 150. They are dropping down. Maybe set this a bit higher to what you want, but that will work. Minus 80, and then maybe 130. Oh yeah, sorry, we can do 150. We just have to delete the clone after, don't we?
So see here.
So if you try
So there are
this,
n number of apples falling one by one. So
and repeat until.
What we have to do, we have to create in such a way that
make sure you show this
one apple should fall at one by one.
Here,
so after one apple, there should fall another apple. So up one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. So there should be not more than 5 or 10 apples. So if we have 5 or 10 apples,
statement can be touching.
It would not be easy to catch. So we have to create one apple by one.
Now try this. We have a simple apple catch game in Scratch. And if you want,
so see here, the apples are falling one by one.
And so you can choose any backdrop
with these simple techniques and codes here, you can see how we have to. So now also we can create a background. So the background is white, so that is something not very beautiful. So what we'll do, here we are creating a background with a blue color and also adding some of the things so that it would look good. So see here, the apples are increasing from 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm missing the score is at stagnant point. Again, I'm catching the apples. The score is being increased from 19, 20, 21, 22, so on. So in this way, with a very basic knowledge, also even the school kids of 5 or 8, 6 or 7 are using this to code. So we'll move on to the next one. So that is Python. So the third thing in the agenda was about the Python. So what is Python? Python is the most widely used user-friendly programming language. It is an open source and easy to learn programming language that is being developed in 1990s. So the Python is a very user-friendly. That means even the kids from the class 6 or 7 or 8, they can learn easily what is Python. So compared to the other programming languages, the Python is very simple, minimalistic and very basic, and also it is used in machine learning, artificial intelligence, big data, graphical user interface based desktop applications and robotics. So it is mostly used in machine learning, artificial intelligence. So like artificial intelligence, if I give an example of artificial intelligence, that is, you take the movie of Rajnikant Robo. So you have seen the robo that would do the commands given by the Rajnikant. So that is artificial intelligence, and it thinks by itself. So that means if you don't provide any instructions, it will do by its own. And also for processing the big data and graphical user desktop applications, like you're building a website, and for the robotics here. For the robotics also, in future, if you want to become a machine learning engineering or an artificial intelligence or a robotics engineering, you can go to the Python. So see how it is easy and you have a bright future to start your career with the Python. And the next thing is advantages. Yeah. So every programming languages has their own advantages. So we'll discuss some of the advantages. Python is easy to read, easy to understand, and easy to write. Yes, Python is easy to read, easy to understand, and easy to write. It integrates with other programming language. Yes, that means if other programming languages like the C, C++, and Java have some of the features, and if you want to use that features in the Python, so we can integrate with the other programming languages. And Python executes code line by line. So that means take example of C language and Python. C language compiles the whole program at once. Think that there are only 10 lines of addition. Okay, it would do. But think that there are 150 lines of code. So what it does, it is easy to compile the whole program. But the thing is, to find the errors, it is difficult. Whereas the Python, it would execute checking line by line. Like if you have written a paragraph with 10 lines, it would check from the line 1 to line 10, verifying that are there any spelling mistakes or not. So in this way, it is a very basic example of what is a line by line. And so it is easy for the programmers to find the errors that occurred in the code. Okay. Python is a platform independent, means you can write code once and run anywhere. So that means you can understand. So what is platform independent? That means take a simple example of you have learned cricket. Okay, we all love cricket because all over the India we are fans of cricket. So if you have learned cricket at your home place, you can play that cricket at any place. That means if you are playing for the Ranji, if you are playing for the international, if you are playing for the national, and if you are playing for the district cricket tournaments, so that means you have learned at your home, but you are playing that game wherever you want, you can play. So that means that is platform independent. In the same way, the Python is same because you can write the code at one place and also you can run it at any computer. So if you are writing the Python program in your system and if you want to execute that in your school system or your friend system, you can do that without any error because Python provides that kind of flexibility. And also the Python is easy. The Python is unique. The Python is unique in that way it's easy to understand. So that means even a school kid who knows a little bit about the programming languages, and if you see a Python program, you would understand, okay, these lines are very easy to understand and easy to learn the programming language. So even for the school kids with no programming experience, they will be very fine with understanding the programming language. So we recommend Python for kids because some languages use a perplexing combination of symbols and abbreviations. That means most of the languages use some of the uh, things that which a kids won't be able to understand. So that is not in the case of Python. So Python doesn't. And we will move on to the next slide. Yeah, surprisingly, Python is easy to learn. So it's good choice for the kids. It is written to be more readable and intuitive than similar backend language. Yes, Python is a backend programming language, but considered to its syntaxes, even the kids would also learn the Python. So there are 5 core concepts that your child should learn to build a solid foundation in Python. So if you learn these 4 things, that is data types, variables, functions, and loops. So these are the things, these are the 5 most basic things and also core concepts like the data type, variables, functions, and loop. If you learn these, you can master the Python. So we'll see one by one what is data type, variable, function, and loop. So the first thing is the data type. A data type is a classification of data that tells compiler how to use a piece of code. So think that the first line is a data type is a classification of data that tells a compiler how to use a piece of code. So take a five students. Five students I have given a pen, paper, a chalk, an eraser, and a bag. So I'm telling first student you should use this pencil to write, and I'm telling the second student that this paper is used to write something on it, and the third student I'm telling that this pen is used to write. So the first one also using the pencil to write, and the third one also using the pen to write. But the difference is with the pencil you can erase and you can rewrite, but with the pen you won't be able to rewrite. And it goes on to the fourth person, that is who's holding the eraser. So I say to that fourth kid that it is used to erase the things which you have written with the pencil. And the fifth one I have told that it is used as a bag. So you have understood. I have given five simple examples of pen, paper, ball, and a bag for five students. So in the same way, a compiler. So you can see here a compiler. I'm pointing that here. A compiler would classify the data and tells how to use that. So see here, these are considered these are six students, like integer is a student, float is a student, string is a student, list is a student, and tuple is a student, and dictionary is a student. So what I'm telling the student integer to store only integers. That means if you want to store 1, 2, 3, 4, or anything, he can store. And also for the second one, the float is 20. So that means he would only store the float values. Like if you want to store the temperatures, like the temperature would be 38.7 degrees or 100.2 degrees Fahrenheit. So in this case, this float will be storing only float values, not the integer values. So coming to the third one, that is string. So what the string does, it would store only string values. That means here it would store MJIT, but it can store any string. Like I would say, if I want to store a movie name called Triple R, or if I want to store India's most famous hero, that is Rajnikant, I can store it only in the place of string, not in the place of integer or not in the place of float. So any string or character that can be only stored in the string. So the next one is list. So you can see here I have given apple, banana, and cherry. Yeah, list is a collection of ordered data type. So that means if you want to store multiple strings, so okay, if you have multiple strings, that means if you have one string, you can use MJIT to store into the string. But say that if you are having apple, banana, cherry, or any other strings, so for that reason we'll be using the list to store that. And the next one is tuple. So tuple is another data type which is same as the list, but there are some differences between the list and tuple. So it also stores the same thing for the strings and character. And the last one is dictionary. So what is a dictionary? Dictionary is a collection of key and value. So if you see here, if I'm saying the name, it would give John. Or else if I say fruit, it would give it is an eatable thing. Or else if I say apple, it would give the result as it is used to eat on it is a and it comes under the category of vegetable. And if I say that what is a car, it shows that it is an automobile. So in this way, a dictionary is something which is related to the real life dictionary. So we here there in the regular dictionary we have the keys like A for apple, A for artist, A for actor, A for actress. So B for bat, B for ball. So in this way we'll be seeing number of words in the dictionary. In the same way, here in the Python dictionary also would store the same thing. So it determines what values an object can have and operations that can be performed on it. Yes. So it determines what values it has and what are the operations it can be performed. And most programming languages basic data such as numbers, characters, and booleans. So even the most other programming languages have numbers, characters, and booleans. So we'll move on to the next slide. Yes, variables. So I will give you a simple example of variable. So take that you can see there are two images. So first of all, I would go through the definition and I will explain what are those. So variables are containers. You can see here variables are containers that hold a value. Yes, a variable is a container that hold a value such as a piece of text or a number, or you might remember that from math class. Variables are powerful because they can be reused or changed easily. Yes. So see here, I'm a student. I'm a school student. So today my mom has prepared uh, something like something like what we'll call a Kit Kat. She packed lunch for me, a Kit Kat, a donut, and also puri. So here, see here, I won't be able to carry all these things in my hand. Yes. So I won't be able to carry all these things in my hand. So take an example of the right one. That is, you can see here the oil, like your coconut oil or your groundnut oil or your sunflower oil. You can see here, if I want to hold this oil in my hand, I won't be able to hold because it would spill out. Because we need a container or we need a jar to store. In the same way, Python is something as these two examples. So if it wants to store 5, it needs something to store. And also if it wants to store the word apple, it needs something to store like the y. So here you have understood why I have given the two examples. Like to store the oil, we use the jar. Okay, to store any orange juice or apple or any kind of juice, we use something called jar or a bottle so that we could preserve and we could use for later on. So in the same way, the file and apple, if you want to store the file and apple, we are going to use x and y as a container or a jar so that we could use now and we could use to store these things for the later use. So we'll move on to the next one. So the next one is functions. So yes, a function is a block of code. A function is a block of code which performs an action when it is called. So that means a function is a block of code which performs an action when it is called. So I will explain the below example. You have added arguments to pass data into a function. A function can return a data as a result. So see here, this is the function define cool function. This is the function. I'm declaring cool function with that function name def, define cool function, and I'm printing my cool function prints this phrase. Okay, so I want to print my cool function prints this phrase. Okay, but what the thing is, it won't print because I'm not calling the function. So at the end, we need to call the function as cool function. So here you can see a function is a block of code which performs an action when it is called. When it is called. So here we are calling the function cool function so that it could print our output in this way. myCool function prints this space. So just look at this function, and I will move on to the next slide. So okay, we will move on to the next slide, that is loops. So we have seen first one is data types, variables, function, and loops. So what is a loop? A loop is something that it holds and it runs n number of times. So let's see a definition. A loop is a block of code that runs over and over. So that means it would run again and again. So in Python, there are two types of loops, for loop and while loop. So in Python, there are two kinds of loops, that is a for loop and a while loop. So a loop repeats a series of commands over a sequence of data. So take an example that there are three students. So the teacher has instructed the three students to repeat the number 1 to 5. Okay, so to repeat the number from 1 to 5 among the three students. So what they will do, the first student will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the first student has asked to second student, and the second student will start counting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then he will give to the third student that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here you can understand that a sequence or a loop is being executed between the three students, that a teacher has said to them to count from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 among these three students. So they have counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 between all these students. So in this way a loop works. So see here the loop is apple, banana, cherry. So see here, so think that fruits is a teacher, and she says that count apple, banana, and cherry. So what the student will do, he would count from apple, banana, and cherry. So how we are going to execute that loop? So we are saying that for x in fruits, so that means the values in the fruits will be passed to x, then we'll be able to print and we'll be able to run the loop. So I will move on to the next slide, that is a while loop. So a while loop repeats a series of commands as long as a certain condition is true. So it says that a while loop is a series of commands as long as a certain condition is true. So take example of here, I'm telling to a student that to count from 1 to 6. Okay, and after the number of 5 he should stop, or else I would give a simple example that today is my birthday and I want to distribute chocolates to 6 students, but I'm having 5 chocolates. So what I would do, I would give the chocolate to the first person, and I would give to the chocolate to the second person, and I will give chocolate to the third person, and I would give chocolate to the fourth person, and I would give chocolate to the fifth person, and I won't be able to give chocolate to the sixth person because I don't have the sixth chocolate. So here see, you can understand the simple and very basic example of a conditional while loop. That means there are 6 students but 5 chocolates. So what is happening here? It is being distributed among the 5 students, leaving the 6th student alone. So see here, I equals to 1 from starting from the first student. I am giving the chocolate. So say that I less than 6. That means if I am having less number of chocolates than the student, I should print. I should print the value, and also I should increase the I value by 1. So here, so first one, in the first one, it would print I. I means 1. In the second one, the I value would increase by 1. So here the previous was 1. The now here I plus 1 means I value becomes 2. So here the 2 will be displayed. And the next thing, I value increased again, I plus 1. So here it goes to it increases to 3, and again it increases the value to 4 by adding 1. After that, also increases the values to 5. That means it increased again the value to 5. Now see here, now the I value is 1. Previously it was 1, increased to 2, increased to 3, increased to 4, increased to 5. Here now the condition is I less than 6. So here is 1 less than 6? Yes, it would print 1. Is 2 less than 6? Yes, it would print 2. Is 3 less than 6? Yes, it would print 3. Is 4 less than 6? Yes, it would print 4. Is 5 less than 6? Yes, it would print 5. Is 6 less than 6? No. 6 is not less than 6 because the condition won't work. So in this way, a loop works. So I hope you understand about the while loop. So I will move on to the next slide. So why should kids learn Python? So Python is a unique that is easy to understand even for kids with no programming language. So yes, even for the kids who have no programming language, the Python is the most recommended language. Yeah. So we recommend Python for kids because some languages use perplex combination of symbols and abbreviations. So it won't be easy to understand that symbols and abbreviations. So with the Python, we don't have that because the Python is easy and it's unique. And Python, which powers the world's second largest search engine. Yeah, we are all know and aware of the YouTube. Yes. Scientists use Python to work with the large data sets. Software engineers build neural networks and other forms of artificial intelligence with these versatile languages. Not only it is recommended for the kids, yes, even for the scientists, for the programming languages, for the software engineers, for the developers, or even for the teachers who want to teach their students using the programming language, they can go for the Python. So now we will see an example to understand, and this is the example built by a school student. So see here, so this is a jumping game. So that means it should jump. If it jumps, it scores the point, and if it hits to an object, it will not score the points.
Hi everyone, it's Zoe from the Scratch team, also known as
So see
Zinnia.
here,
Today I
she
wanted
is
to
a
show
school
you
girl,
how to
so
make a
you
jumping
can
game
see
in Scratch.
how the horse
By the
is
end of this
running,
tutorial, you'll be
and
able to make
also
a game like
how
this
the
one, where you
dinosaur
can have a
is
character jumping over moving obstacles. We'll do this in 5 steps. Make your character jump, make a moving obstacle, stop the game, add more obstacles, and keep score. Let's get started. So first, let's pick a character and make it jump. You can pick any character you want. I will pick the chick. And let's also choose a backdrop. I'll use the blue sky. To make the character jump upwards, we can use this block, change y by 10. And if we make it repeat that 10 times, it'll go up really high. Now, we also want it to come back down. To do this, we can change y by -10. And let's put that in a repeat loop too. Nice. It would be fun for the character to jump when we press the space key, so we can add the when space key pressed block on top, and then we can make it jump with space. We can also enhance the jump by making it play a sound, so we can just add this block, start sound chirp. Nice. Now our character can jump. Next, let's make a moving obstacle, so our character has something to jump over. First, let's pick an obstacle. It could be anything you'd like it to be. I'll pick the egg. I'm actually going to make the egg a little smaller by setting its size to 80. You want the obstacle to be a bit smaller than your character, so your character can jump over it. Now, we want our obstacle to start at this side of the screen and glide over to this side of the screen. First, how do we tell the egg to start over here? We can tell it to go to a certain position. With this block, go to X and Y. In Scratch, every position on the stage has a certain number X and a certain number Y. In case it's your first time seeing this, X represents how far your sprite is from this side of the screen to this side of the screen, so side to side, and Y represents how high up your sprite is. So we need to tell the egg to go to this spot right here. Here's an easy way to do that. Just drag the egg to where you want it to go, and then the Go To block in the menu over here actually updates to the exact X and Y of that spot. So we can just drag this block out. And then to make the egg glide across the screen, we can use this block, Glide to XY, which makes a sprite glide smoothly to a certain place. We want the egg to glide to here, so we can just drag the egg over here, and then this glide block in the menu updates to the X and Y of this spot. So we can just drag that out too, and connect it, and now the egg can glide across the screen. Now, the egg glided once, but we want more eggs to keep coming. We can do that by putting this in a forever loop. And let's make this start when we click the green flag. Gliding across the screen in just 1 second is a little fast, so let's make the egg take 3 seconds to glide across the screen. Now we can jump over obstacles. Next, let's make the game stop if we run into the egg. There's this block, Stop All, that will stop everything in your project. And we can make the egg wait until it's touching the chick. And then if it does run into the chick, have it stop the game. Let's try that out. I'll purposefully not jump. There you go, everything stopped. Oh, and let's fix this problem. Sometimes the chick gets stuck in the air because its code gets stopped when it runs into the egg, but it might not have been finished with its jump, so it's just frozen there. So we can fix this by making the chick go to a starting position when the game starts. So I'll put my chick where I want it to start, and then I will drag out a Go To block, which will be set to that X and Y of that spot, and make that happen when you click the green flag. There we go. Now, to make our game even more fun, let's add more obstacles. It's actually really easy to do that. Just right-click on the egg and click Duplicate. Now we have another egg with all the same code as the first egg, so it will glide just like the first egg does. Let's try it out. So we can't see the second egg. That's because it's right on top of the first egg. They have the exact same code, so they're gliding at the exact same time. So let's make the second egg wait 1 second before it starts gliding, so that they're spaced out from each other. Now, this looks good, except this egg is just sitting in the middle of the screen while it waits for 1 second. So let's make it hide when the project starts, so it'll be invisible, and then make it show once it's done waiting. That looks much better. And lastly, let's add a score so the player earns points every time they jump over the egg. To do this, let's make a variable. In Scratch, you can use a variable to keep track of a certain number in your project. So I'll make a variable called score, and we'll use it to keep track of the player's score. Every time the player manages to complete a jump, we can increase their score by 1. Nice. And when the player loses and the project restarts, we can set their score back to 0. There we go. That's a jumping game. I hope this tutorial helped you out. There are lots of other things you could try. You could have multiple kinds of obstacles. You could have, once the player reaches a certain score, the backdrop changes, so it's like they went to level 2. I can't wait to see all the things you make. Well, I'll see you next time, and scratch on.
So I hope you have enjoyed the video and how the game is being developed. So if you like, please hit like, and you can also comment, and please subscribe. So today we have completed our Python. So we have discussed about so we will see the agenda what we have covered. So that is, what is a computer? Yes, we have discussed a computer is an electronic device that is used to manipulate, to store the data. And also we have seen what is Python. Yeah, we have seen a Python is a programming language, and why should kids learn? Because it's an easy programming language for the kids to develop their programming skill. And the fourth one is, what's the best way for the kids? Yeah, the best way for the kids is to learn through games, to learn through the games. And fifth one is utilize gamification. That means best Python games for kids. So that means here you can understand, by building the games you'll be able to understand the programming languages. Yes. And the sixth one, other helpful Python activities for kids also. Not only building the games, you can also build applications. So we have covered all the things in the agenda, and thank you so much for your time, and I hope you all enjoyed. So if you like this section, please hit on like, comment and subscribe to our channel. And thank you. I'm GC Rahul and I'm signing off.